Round 7 of the Formula 1 2019 World Championship takes us to Canada. A little break in the European season. We go to North America to what has been usually described as one of the best races of the season. Canada, with its unique long circuit layout with plenty of straights, high-speed corners, usually puts on a bit of a show. Not always, though, and that's exactly what happened last year. A little bit of a snooze fest. We'll talk about last year a little bit later on, but in today's video, we're going to have a look ahead at the weekend, how the season's been shaping up so far, which teams need a big result here in Canada. I'm sure you can guess what teams really do need a big result, but also going into this weekend, round 7, out of 21. This is a real period of the championship now where not just at the front, but in the midfield, consistency is really going to be key. And little mistakes that teams have had at the beginning of the season really need to be ironed out. Let's crack on with it then. No practice report this week. As well, if you've been following the channel for the 2019 season, you will know in the preview videos, we talk about the practice results. We go through FP1, we go through FP2, and we sort of discuss what cars are looking good. Unfortunately, practice is on later tonight. Obviously, time zones. We all love a good time zone dilemma. Practice is on tonight, which means I don't want to put out a video at 1 o'clock in the morning. If that's everyone's all right with that. I think everyone gets the gist. So no practice talk today, unfortunately. That's okay. It just means that we don't quite have the full picture of the weekend. So yes, my predictions later on will probably be a bit wacky, but I'm sure you're all used to that anyway. Where to start then this week? I think let's start with Mercedes. It's pretty straightforward with Mercedes, isn't it? Have won every single race this year. Absolutely smashing it. Lewis Hamilton, 4 victories. Valtteri Bottas, 2 victories. Bottas, 3 pole positions. Lewis Hamilton, 2 pole positions. And Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, 1 pole position. That's how the season has gone so far. And in a nutshell, and definitely, if you take that for face value, it's been a pretty dull affair this season. I don't think that paints the full picture, to be totally honest with you. Even with Mercedes taking 1-2 in every single race this season, except last time out in Monaco, I think it's been a solid year. It's just missing that big fight at the front, and that team on screen right now, Ferrari, are the ones that we expected to be so good. Obviously, that's not quite come to fruition. However, last season, it did at this particular circuit. There was a little bit of carnage on the first few laps. Brendan Hartley, Lance Stroll, a bit of a monster crash in the, well, just going into the beginning of Sector 2. Safety car came out, but after that, it was quite a dull affair, to be totally honest with you. One of the more boring, I don't like using the word boring, but it was one of the more dull Canadian Grand Prix. I don't expect to see that again this season, generally because of the nature of the midfield. The midfield is looking super tight. Every single weekend we're going into this season, there's been a different team at the front of the midfield, which has been incredible. But Ferrari, we did expect them to be fighting this year. Is it naive to expect them to do well this weekend? Well, potentially yes, because we've thought that all season long, and it's constantly we've been proved wrong. However, I personally am of the opinion that they will win sooner rather than later. I don't think we're going to go a full season where Mercedes win every single race, and if they do, then you can come back to this video and tell me how wrong I was. But I think sooner rather than later, Ferrari will get a win. And actually, I think the Canadian circuit, with the 2 particularly long straights, the home straight and the straight, the long DRS straight before it, I think will really favour that Ferrari. And I think actually they could be the team to beat this weekend. You look at Bahrain, again, not super similar, those 2 circuits, but Bahrain in itself, 2 super long straights, 3 really nice long straights in Bahrain. Ferrari used that advantage, was able to get pole position, should have got a 1-2 themselves in Bahrain, didn't happen. I think this is a chance at redemption. Baku is known for, even though it's a street circuit, known for being a super high speed circuit. Ferrari, arguably, especially Charles Leclerc and his side of things, should have won that race. So I think Ferrari will be in the mix, which I think is definitely what needs to happen. Monaco, to be honest with you, was, I want to say, sort of positive, the final result of Monaco, especially with Sebastian Vettel. He had had an awful weekend all the way through. Crashed in practice, crashed in qualifying, almost out in Q1. The race wasn't going well. Ended up breaking that Mercedes streak, splitting the two Mercedes in actual fact, ending up P2. Is that the sort of little bit of luck which will spur on Ferrari? I'm not too sure. Charles Leclerc, on the other hand, awful weekend in Monaco. He's never ever, in his whole racing career, not just Formula 1, but his whole racing career, ever finished a Monaco race, which is crazy. So why are we surprised that he didn't finish this one? So he's got a point to prove this weekend. Is he going to be the man to bring this first victory for Ferrari? Well, arguably, he's been the guy this season that's looked the more likely to do so. He was the guy in Baku that was looking super on the pace. He had an incredible fight here last year with Fernando Alonso, of all people. He could do it. He could do it, but again, this is the track where Lewis Hamilton got his first ever victory. Valtteri Bottas got his first ever podium. Mercedes have such a good track record here. It's going to be a real 50-50, which is brilliant. And I'm sure a lot of fans, and please, if you feel like this, let me know in the comments below. But a lot of fans think, come on, surely Mercedes have got this. But again, I don't think, I mean, look at Monaco. Realistically, 4 cars could have won that race. Again, Monaco is a very unique situation, but all it would have taken is a tyre delamination from Lewis Hamilton. That brings the Ferrari, Bottas, Verstappen all into play. I love Monaco last time out, and I'm expecting a little bit of chaos at the start of this race, but also what makes Canada great, in my opinion, is strategy. And I think that's something that a lot of people, including myself, are going to be focusing on this weekend. Canada has a really nice history of 2-stop, even 3-stop races. Not so much in recent history, which I think is potentially why they've been a little bit more dull, especially last season. But hopefully, we see a couple of 2-stoppers, maybe someone try a really long 1-stopper just to try and spice up the action a little bit. In the midfield, I think it's anyone's game. Renault are probably the team I'm looking at the moment that really need a big result. They've struggled so much with reliability at the beginning of this season. They've let guys like McLaren jump ahead of them, which, again, McLaren doing an awesome job this year. Monaco P5 for Carlos Sainz, incredible. So I think Renault, for me, in the midfield are the guys that need a big result. But I expect Haas to probably be leading the midfield charge this weekend. But again, it's going to be lots of overtake, lots of dramas, maybe even a safety car or 2. And here are my predictions. Again, we didn't talk about practice today, so I've tried to, as we've gone through the video, tried to rationalise my predictions already. So you would have guessed that I was going to go for Ferrari victory this time out, which, yeah, I know what you're going to say. Dan, it's a pipe dream. It's a pipe dream. But again, I think it could happen. And if you're telling me that Mercedes are going to win every single race this year, fair play. Fair play. It potentially, yeah, it does look like it. But Hamilton really struggled here last season. I just wonder whether that will repeat again this year. Ferrari, if they're finally on their A game, I think could snatch a victory. But to be honest, this is just a complete guess, which it always is. It always is. But I've gone with the Leclerc victory of Verstappen P2, mainly because he is the man in form. I do believe that, and was super unlucky to not be on the podium in Monaco. And Valtteri Bottas, I've gone for P3, meaning Hamilton will end his 100% podium streak this season. Again, a little bit left of field this time out, but I think this is more a plea to the racing gods that we get a really juicy race in Canada. I don't think Formula 1 necessarily needs it. I think it would just be really nice to get another race like Bahrain, like Monaco, to really kick Formula 1 into action as we head into this sort of mid-season phase. where points really are needed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who is going to be on the podium? Who's going to win the 2019 Canadian Grand Prix? I'll be with Sean the F1 Word on Sunday doing a race reaction, so you can head over to his channel if you want to listen to that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.